So let's start. So my guest today, it's a really, really good friend, my dear brother, Alexis Scott. So Alex, it's even harder to introduce you. You know, I'm gonna try my best.
Story.
It's a long story, right? But I'm gonna do my best here. So, first of all, Alex, it's you from Taranaki. Alex has his degree in exercise science. Used to compete for New Zealand, representing New Zealand in fancy. Alex also, it's my first black belt, the first black belt of combat room. Also, it's one of the most accomplished competitor as well in New Zealand with Jiu-Jitsu. For a long time, you know, you was, you know, the top competitor in New Zealand. Also, you used to coach rugby as well. No, you was the
rugby league especially.
The Petone. It was the Petone team.
Panthers and the Wellington team with Trevor Clark.
Trevor. Yeah.
Even over in Australia, working with Trevor. And teams as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So after Alex met Anna,
changed my life.
at Combat Room as well.
Absolutely.
And you guys moved to Sydney mainly when you guys start, doing some training there. And after you opened Combat Room Sydney there. And the rest it's this story. Now we're gonna get into those details. No.
Yeah.
My brother, welcome to the podcast. Yeah, it's so good to have you here. It's something I was waiting for so long as well. We did one during the lockdown. Huh?
Yeah, Instagram live.
Yeah.
It was a nice conversation.
Yeah.
I want to say as well, thanks for having me on too, Vanderson. It's a real pleasure to come and chat with you again, and sharing time is so great. And we've had a long time apart with the lockdowns and stuff like that. So it's been 3 years since we've been back to New Zealand, and it's like you're a big part of the home here as well, and that's pretty cool. From
13 years of friendship.
Because when you came here, it was you didn't know anybody. Just I remember you sent some emails to various clubs, and I think Douglas Santos got back to you, and you went to Auckland, and then we met in a competition up in Auckland. And
let's tell this story, because that was such a important part of my journey here as well, and also a part of all of that, my gratitude towards you, it's just massive. If I'm here in New Zealand today, one person I need to always say thank you, definitely it's you, who helped me a lot pretty much since the day one.
Yeah, we were in there. Together.
So just to give a little bit context to people. So I came here and was 2009, and so Douglas Santos, super cool. He invited me to, allowed me to train with his team. Also, I met Pedro and other guys there. But Douglas was organized some competitions.
Yeah.
And I was, super keen as well I said that what a good opportunity, to see the level of Jiu-Jitsu in New Zealand. And he invited me to be one of the referees. And I was really paying attention, to see who was, kind of someone who had some skills going on. Right?
Yeah. Well, at that time for me, I was really hungry. I was a purple belt.
Yeah.
And we had the kind of like the little kind of team that we had in Wellington with Brian, and there was Big Mike. That competition, and Ray Massa, and that I had some good matches, and you refereed the final, and I just felt like I got a vibe off you that was sort of like, I just want to introduce myself afterwards and say hi, and kind of make some connection. I just felt like you seemed like a nice guy, and I was intrigued. I thought, oh, I reckon his jiu-jitsu is probably good too. And I said hello, and we kind of did some sign language to each
Yeah,
other because
could not speak.
it wasn't very much English then at all. And, but, and I said, man, if you're coming down to Wellington at any time, there'll be a place for you to pop in and train and visit. And so, I said, I just kind of extended that invitation out to you. And yeah, and then that was, the competition was over and we kind of went home. And I sort of remember thinking, as that week kind of went on, I'll send a message back to Vanderson and just to let him know, like I meant what I said, if you want to come down, it's all good. And I sent this message on the Facebook and then I got a message back. Oh yeah, great. I'm on the train.
That's right. I got
down.
the train. For Walker.
I'm already coming. So I was like, and my immediate thought was, he knows someone. He's already got someone here that he's going to catch up with.
And I had nobody.
No. Yeah. So when I found, oh shoot, okay, it's us, right? Okay, awesome. All right. So that was like, shit, he's coming. And that I think that was kind of just one of those. It was a perfect example of the journey. It's like, you're going to do something and you go for it. And you go, and that adventure kind of started there. And I was working with Brian in the security on the doors down on Cuba Street. And you arrived on the train. We tried to talk to you on the phone, but it was
super hard.
Most difficult thing to just like, okay, tell you where we are. No, okay, just stay there, and we're gonna come and pick you up.
And I couldn't understand anything.
So
super hard.
Luckily, I borrowed Brian's car and we drove down there. And you were in like your shorts and t-shirt,
like always,
in the middle of the night in Wellington. And but with your bag and your gi, and I think we kind of we come up and introduced you to Brian and hung out for a little bit.
So I came on Saturday. On Sunday morning, you guys already was on the backpack. Let's train.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember as well that training session really, really clearly. It was like because first you had a roll with Brian, and I watched this one. I was like, oh, it's pretty crushing, like
pretty
good grips and pressure. And and I could always, you can tell like when you feel the grips of somebody, it's a big tell of where they're, what their actual level in jiu-jitsu is. And so you had a good round with Brian, and then finished. Then it was my turn, and it's like, jumped in there and trying to like do my best. And I remember you getting me like in an armbar position, and I spun out of it, and I was like, cool, got out of it. And then next minute, this time just with less chance to escape, and bang, and it was like, So straight after that, I mean, for Brian and I, it was like, plus, this guy's legit. He's really, his jiu-jitsu level feels like something that we can really, learn from. And, and you also, I mean, we were just kind of out on a limb a little bit, but the impression was that you were a good guy. You were a genuine guy, and you and we kind of took a bit of a we offered you to train with us if you wanted to, and because you were sort of like looking to find a place in New Zealand to start to build a life. And we thought, man, we can help you, you can help us. And I remember Jan Derkowitz, so another good friend who was at the beginning, Canadian like rock climber, Jan Derkowitz. His wife was
Portuguese.
So we would have like
the
catch up and have meetings, and she was
the translator,
and then so that kind of was the the beginning of the the combat room jiu-jitsu, the Vanderson Pires jiu-jitsu team, and in the combat room was just those kind of couple of weeks after you came down, and Brian was made sure that you could get some work. On the
start working the door, security. Yeah.
It's good, but it's also hard. So we started like training, every day of the week from just like a couple of 2 or 3 sessions. We were between me and Brian. We'd been doing the training, and then that was also when Lindolfo was around. So it was just, for me, it was like a dream come true for training. This a high level black belt comes to from Sao Paulo. I managed to meet up, and he's a nice good guy as well, and he's crushing me, like completely smashing me, and that's like for me, that was, I was like, oh man, I can learn a lot. And we kind of it was a coach student role, but also a training partners relationship as well. And on the mats was just a lot of hard training for me. I don't know how hard it was
for all of us. I think people when we tell this, I think people, they don't realize the intensity of the training we are
like
doing.
A boot camp.
Every session, just to build it up the team, to build it up you as well, as a competitor. But also because when I saw you in Auckland, as a referee, got my attention. Even because, man, you had a really good fight with an open weight division with a guy from Australia that, way bigger than you. Remember that guy? He kind of seemed remind me Dallas a little bit. Remember Dallas, the rugby player?
Absolutely, yeah.
It was the same build, And
Graham Warrior. His name. Yeah.
And you won that match, huh?
No, this was, I'm thinking a different one, but that's right,
so after that, we had the conversation, because that I got impressed with your technique, and I kind of trying to say, hey, you're good, kind of, sign language. But at the same time, Alex, being a genuine person as you are, was, the easy attraction, yes, because I would never, doing all that trip as well, if I wasn't. So I was instant, connection, we had in this. And after, because one of the things as well, I think it sets you apart, it's how coachable you are, because lots of people want to train jiu-jitsu and get better, but it's so hard to find someone who's coachable, who's understand, when you're trying to, hey, do this, do that, I can count on one hand, the people I met who was as coachable as you are.
Yeah, that coachability, I think, was it's such a huge thing for how much success that I got in fencing and jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and in jiu-jitsu, it was sort of like my second go at high-level sport as well. Fencing was the first, and I was younger, and I wasn't as mature in my mind, and the second time around, after I had this bad accident and came back to sport, and coming into jiu-jitsu was I was a lot more grateful for everything that I could do, and it felt like it was more of, I didn't just take things for granted anymore. So the opportunity to train with somebody of a really good level, there was no question in my mind whether how I was going to do it. I was going to put myself in your hands for whatever you were talking about. I took it on as much as possible, tried to understand it and learn it. And that coachability, that is an attitude that is something that everybody can have too. You know, you kind of sometimes you got to have a back seat for your own, your own like ideas and stuff, and listen first, which is probably like a hard thing to do for people. You know, your ego wants to kind of show how good you are and all that sort of stuff. And there was always, I remember thinking, I just wanted to show you all the things that I knew, and but I didn't really, I just, I was there. I wanted to show stuff, and you were like, "No, we're going to do this, and this, and we're going to do it this way." And so that's what it was like. Cool, I'm going to go in this direction, and we're going to learn that, and I'm going to put the faith in that, and give the trust there, but also maintain your own motivation as well. That's also important, is not to just live and off the coach and just be a total automatic. You've got to meld it into your own personality and your own game, but first you've got to take it on, and that sort of skill of being coachable is it's nice to be a good student as well. Like, I like to be just there doing what needed to be done, and it was really, really, it's a nice feeling to be achieving in that way as well, and finding that combination of taking on board, and then but synthesizing it into your own thing as you keep going along is really important, I think, for the development as well. Because you're only a competitor for so long, and then you transition to different stages of your jiu-jitsu career, and that kind of idea of Shuhari is something that I kind of started to study more, in the sense of a student and coach relationship. Shuhari is a martial arts term, and it's essentially it's like this process of learning, and it's like copy first, so you take on board what the person's teaching you, and you mimic that, and then the next stage is to experiment with that, and then the final stage is to create your own thing out of that synthesis, out of what someone's told you from their personal experience and how they've built their game. You experiment with that through the training, and then you're ultimately going to be coaching somebody else through your experience and giving them your tips, and then hopefully they'll take that on board before trying to tinker around with it from the get-go. Take it on board, play around with it, and it's this sort of cycle of learning. And I think it's a nice little mantra to think about when you're as a student, is Shuhari.
That's nice.
Experiment, then create. Just that. It sort of reminds me in the symbol of the combat room. It's the 3 koru. Copy, experiment, create. I think coachability is such a great thing that everybody can be good at.
I agree, So Alex, let's just go back a little bit just to give insight for the ones who are watching us. So you used to compete in fancy, so you had the opportunity as well to represent New Zealand overseas. You travel all around the world, competing fancy. So how was the transition from fancy? You mentioned the accident as well. So can you please tell us the story?
Yeah. So I got into fencing as a 12-year-old kid in New Plymouth, in a small town in Taranaki, or the big town in Taranaki, and absolutely loved it. Got into it, and the competition was great for me. I was, it was the beginning of really shaping my life, through competition and training and sports. So yeah, I did lots of age group competitions and went to Australia and did the sort of the under 20s and the cadets high performance sort of training camps over there. So they're the Australian fencing team would have their training camps, and we would travel over there and spend the week over there doing fitness testing, doing sports psychology stuff, heaps of fencing training. So this was sort of like a good learning for how to train and being in that kind of environment. And I loved it. I loved that sort of feeling, and being amongst those and traveling, meeting people. So that kind of went up through the age groups, and I represented New Zealand as a senior in a bunch of competitions overseas as well, World Championships. I was fortunate enough. My fencing coach Barry Moore was a great coach. He was ex-Olympian coach for the British foil team. So that's why I moved from Egmont Village to Auckland into the big city. But I moved into the gym. There's a little room out the back, and got into it. So I was always sort of prepared to like go all in for something as well. Like I wasn't thinking about what's the backstop plan too much. So the fencing was amazing. Went to like places that I would never normally kind of go to. Iran was one place that was just off the radar. Iran, Russia,
that's awesome.
Korea, the USA, Poland, Malaysia, a lot of cool places, and I learned a lot of lessons in fencing that were that I was able to revisit in jiu-jitsu and in my mind kind of do better. Because that it was like from 12 to 22 years old was my fencing time, and it's really formative times of your life, and I spent a lot of it in the really focused in the gym, and I kind of burnt out. Really, and I was sort of young and felt like I'd been maybe missing out on just life. And all, so. It was I went through a period of time where I burnt out. I lost motivation. I started to kind of, look to find stimulation in other places, and so parties and hanging out with friends in Auckland. It was it was a time where I kind of I went off the track of my athletic career. But it was also something that I kind of ultimately sort of needed to do, I guess. And it's just your life journey kind of leads you to these periods of time. And I gave fencing a break for a while, and I thought I'd come back. I just didn't want to like lose the love of it. And I took a break, and I was also thinking about what I would be doing in my life afterwards, and being a stuntman was kind of like something that I thought about doing, and it seemed to be something that could work for me. But
definitely, I can totally see you doing really well on this field.
Because sword fighting, and at that time I loved like pro wrestling, pro wrestling, and but that sort of, I just got off track, and I was doing like, with Jackass, watched Jackass movies, and saw people doing like stunts, home backyard stunts, and I eventually, one of the nights I jumped off a roof that was too high. Jumped off a roof, and I thought I was going to make it, and I smashed myself over. Yeah, so I broke my heel bone. Really badly. I've got 13 screws in my foot still to this day, and yeah, that was a big turning point for my life, because in that moment where I was sort of, kind of like gone from like really focused and training a lot to the other end of the spectrum of like going out a lot and not training, but I still pushed the limit. I was always kind of like pushing a limit, and I hurt myself really badly. And suddenly I was in hospital with kind of like almost nothing, everything taken away from you. The doctors, the surgeons, they're saying you're not going to be able to walk properly again. You're going to your fencing, think about that's not going to happen anymore. So it was like a real low point, a real kind of rock bottom sort of situation for me. And it made me really take stock of what I like think deeply about what was important in my life, what was really important. And it always came back to just my health, just being able to use my body, and family. Like I kind of sort of, as you do, you're a teenager and young 20s, you're drifting away and you're not as close. But so I got a real good wake up call there, and also a challenge. The challenge was to get better and to come back against the predictions of everybody that was saying you can't do it. And that kind of gave me a real like this. It was a moment where I could decide, am I gonna accept what they're telling me and kind of just let this small world come around me, and or am I gonna fight for what fight for it and not give up. And I, in my mind, I just had this idea that if I could just get even 0.5% or 0.25% better today, and then keep doing that, at some point I'm gonna be good again. And that was really that kind of mindset in that period of time that helped me a lot. Was just it was hard though as well. There was a lot of soul searching, and a lot of times where it was just difficult to know what the future was going to be. But it was lucky for me, I could go home. I went home to my family and spent time just in the countryside. It's always been a place, like the bush and listening to birds, and for me, home and seeing the mountain, it's all very, very healing to the soul, like so having that time to just think and reflect, I was very lucky, and I came up with these ideas of just a little bit better every day, and I'm going to be good.
This mindset of the train has told you the things to do, the right things.
So that those training camps in Australia and learning how to train to be ready for competitions. That gave me a template that I could work with, and it was just another challenge, a challenge to overcome. And fortunately that kind of led towards jiu-jitsu, which was my sister was a dancer, and she had got into capoeira, and some of the guys who were doing capoeira were in jiu-jitsu, and they just sort of had a small club in New Plymouth, and I was getting better, healing up, and my sister was coming home with not DVDs, VHS tapes of Gracie's in action and Hicks and Gracie choke and UFC 1, and she was also like putting me in choke holds and wrist locks and stuff, and it was just.
And
like,
by the way, she's a black belt now in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. She's amazing. Yeah, such a an awesome influence in my life there, and she really paved the way for me in jiu-jitsu, and I'm very grateful for Emma and her she's got so much strength. She's like old school, went through the toughest types of training when it was not easy for women, much harder for women then than it is now. But she just she's a beast. In the best way. Yeah. So, but that I was deciding, am I going to go back to fencing and like go for my Olympic dream? Get to the Olympics and try to go for a gold medal. That was the ultimate goal and dream. Or am I gonna like shift focus and go for something new that I can, that might be better suited now? And that took a lot of kind of thinking about, soul searching, and so I'd started doing jiu-jitsu with Emma to ultimately it was like rehab, so I could get on the mat. It's softer. It's kind of on the floor more. Fencing's up and down on a hard surface.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. Of course, for your foot, the mats are soft.
Yeah. So it was perfect, because I'd done the rehab for a while, but there's only so many calf raises that you can do before it gets really boring. So it was also, I was like, man, it's something that's going to be more fun. I'm just going to be getting this rehab while I'm doing some training, and it won't feel so much like a chore. It'll be enjoyable. And then it just was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is like, and it was like Hoist Gracie, I could see myself as Hoist Gracie. Like, I'm skinny and weedy like that guy too. But it was, it appealed to me, because always fighting had been a really, something I was not into, as really, the confrontation and stuff was really, scary. I didn't like it. And, but I could see that, the Gracies, Hoist Gracie, they were doing this intelligently, and that was what really, drew me to it. Was like, yes, like they're thinking about this, and this is not just who's toughest and bashing each other. This is like, they're playing to some strategies, and it's working. I'm seeing this happen, and it was just mind blowing, and we've got, there's people training it right here. And so it was, just like, it came together really nicely. And it was not long into training. My ankle was, it healed up quite well by getting into it. And then we were competing. We were into jiu-jitsu competition.
Jiu-jitsu.
Sports jiu-jitsu at that time. Was 3-minute rounds. And I remember the first competition. It was like I was still in the fencing mindset of competition. And fencing's very, you're kind of like shouting for points when you hit the other guy. It's like,
In jiu-jitsu, this is the coach job to do that.
So it was like, going into that sort of martial arts environment, and I was so pumped up. And like my first match that I had, I remember it was like a takedown and a guard pass and an armbar, and then jump up and like, then I looked around, I'm like, oh no, that's not the right thing to be doing. I liked that a lot, because the fencing mindset was sort of like, a lot of bravado as well. And jiu-jitsu was kind of like just your actions are going to speak for you, and you're going to keep yourself under control more. The fencing, there was a part of it that was kind of like out of control, and very emotional. And, and I got into it. I got into yelling and screaming and having tantrums and throwing your gear and things like that, because that's what I'd seen.
Yeah.
And so in jiu-jitsu, you know, it gave a different environment, you know, and so controlling your emotions, controlling the situation, and being, you know, like letting the actions just speak was much more what was coming through, and you know, it was a good thing. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's so interesting to say that, because see that we underestimate the influence we have on other people, not just because we see other people doing, we think that's the right way to do things, right? So that's the dangers when you see people kind of the trash talk, you know, and kind of those things, and it's always a dangerous line. But that's interesting. So after that, so just one thing, what's the main difference between sports jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, well, in that time in New Zealand, sports jiu-jitsu wasn't and I think it still goes on today, and it's an organization that has a set of rules.
I can't believe. Anna, turn off for us, please. No, it's okay. It's part of noise. After we
That was the wrong answer.
We're not gonna even chop it. Let's kill it. Try again, Alex.
Okay,
Try again.
It was the only. It was the rule set and the competition format that was going at the time. So it was different jiu-jitsu, you know, Japanese jiu-jitsu, like traditional jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, kung fu, all different martial arts that would come together and compete under just the same rules. So there's a grappling rule set, and then there was a free fighting rule set. And yeah, that was where we really cut our teeth. There was one, you know, that was just as the Auckland Jiu-Jitsu BJJ competition was coming up that Douglas started running. So that was sort of the two, you know, there was a circuit of sports jiu-jitsu, and then there was like one Brazilian jiu-jitsu sort of competition, maybe one or two in the year. And so yeah, that was our first, you know, kind of step out into battle, eh? And that's what it felt like. So yeah, we had it was like it was a time where we trained a lot, and yeah, it felt like we were going out to battle. And the competition rounds were like 3-minute rounds, because this was, you know, still back in the day when most people, you know, not many people even knew about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu still in New Zealand. And, you know, what we were seeing of it was MMA Jiu-Jitsu, like Vale Tudo, self-defense, you know, some grappling as well. But, you know, it was still like really kind of closely associated to like, you know, proving that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like the best. You know, that was big on our kind of what we were kind of feeling like in those days. It's like, man, this is the best one. And you go to the competition and kind of like try to take out all the other martial arts.
Typical Gracie style.
Yeah, exactly. So we were living that as well. You know, that was another. That was what we saw, and so that was, you know, what we kind of how we lived it. And so yeah, it was, you know, those were the days when you really like, so the pride was there for the sport, and the only other Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team doing them was Will Machado. So it was like Damian Smith and Dan Digby and Shane Cox. You know, they were the other jiu-jitsu team, and like would have really good matches up against them, and but they were only 3-minute rounds. 3-minute rounds. So, you know, it was like but it was cool as well, because you'd come against people in a different style, and you know, so it was more kind of the self-defense jiu-jitsu feeling rather than the full sports jiu-jitsu that you see now. Yeah. So it was, and then the free fighting as well. So we were doing that too, which was kind of point scoring, striking, and then grappling on the ground, and you get points for submission holds, and they just would restart it. And that was kind of like the MMA stuff, and yeah, we did all of it, and yeah, I was just looking back in some old. I've got a box
of course, yeah. You had some MMA fights as well in New Zealand.
Yeah, and because that was all, that was the pathway of jiu-jitsu that we kind of like were seeing, and and the ultimate jiu-jitsu was sort of like to be able to use it in real situations, and so I had 3 fights in New Zealand, and they were like sort of iconic moments really. There was one which was on TV3, like sports, the Saturday sports show. So we were on TV one time, and
it was on the beginning of this whole revolution of jiu-jitsu, and
absolutely,
in New Zealand as well.
It was really, I think it was sort of like there was a first wave, and there was which was like the very first, and there was I think Jeff Aiken, and just like a couple of guys who were like, but even like people like Carl Weber and Peter Aberdeen. Just a lot of
the old school guys.
Who are still around. And that was like the I forgot my train of thought. I was talking about. Help me out.
Yeah, so so you talk about the MMA. So I just mentioned about
to the head.
That's the beginning of the whole revolution of jiu-jitsu and grappling in New Zealand. No?
And absolutely.
Because man, this is one of the things. I'm really glad we're doing this podcast. Because even for the memory, because man, remember how many times when we were training, I said, guys, we are making history in New Zealand. You guys gonna represent New Zealand in Abu Dhabi, in all of that. So it's still very early days, in the sport. Even I could track, some of the techniques we were in, we were training, so I was tracking when those techniques was going around to other places, I said, this, So even that, we could track techniques back then, because everything was so new, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was, I kind of loved.
And you're part of all of that, part of this. It's kind of we had the first generation of Senelli, Steve Oliver, as you said, Peter Bedin, all those guys, and after, it's your generation, Dan Digby, those guys.
Yeah. Dan Digby. Dan Digby was the last MMA fight that I had, and those memories are like. At the time, there was so many things that go on. I remember the final MMA fight that I had was the tournament. It was like for the New Zealand title. I was in it. Dan Digby was in it. Jesse Flop Boada was in it, and Dave. Johnson, he'll know the name. Dave. Sorry, Dave. And so there was this 4-man tournament. And, one of the crazy things was Flop was kind of like a long time training partner and
good friends.
And like thinking about that going in there was quite difficult, kind of mental kind of thing. This just let alone just the kind of stress of going into an event where you might have 2 fights on one night, and you're gonna like just get ready for whatever can happen. It was the least rules, in the sense of elbows were allowed, and so it was like,
Vale tudo style,
yeah. It's like you could get hurt, and yeah, like I had a lot of difficulty kind of getting into the right mindset for it, and I really overtrained it, I think, and I because it was on my mind so much all the way through the
To deal
lead up.
with the anxiety of
The
the
anxiety,
yeah.
Every time I think about Dan Digby, you know, because it would be like, oh, I know he's like going to be hard, you know, hard to fight, and you know, I was having the fight every day for weeks before the fight, and this was
And
super
this
draining.
energy goes, yeah,
Yeah,
the body doesn't know the difference, huh? Yeah,
yeah.
that's so interesting.
So it was, yeah, that was, yeah, really, really
Drain,
difficult.
yeah.
Looking back, you know, I was just like so overhyped in every part of what I was doing. It was hard to just find relaxation and peace, which was, yeah, and it ended up that I kind of, yeah, you know, yeah, I lost that fight, and it was, you know, because we were training with Peter Bailey as well for the kickboxing stuff, and Brian, he really trained me a lot.
Oh man, I wish I
that.
was on the scene as well back then. Yeah.
Yeah, we had, yeah, it was, you know, but it was also, man, it's so stressful for Brian as well. You know, you know, he's got the tough exterior, but you know, for someone that he cares about, it was really hard for him to put someone in the ring. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And especially with knowing all the personal kind of, you know, we were all friends really.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, so that was like, you know, that's also like learning about like what a professional fighter would be, you know, and what that life would, you know, would be like. And but I remember, you know, so yeah, Brian got this just terrible headache, and you know, it was
I can imagine. Yeah.
yeah, it was just really intense for everybody. And yeah, I remember not long after you came, because it wasn't long after that, that you know, you kind of like, you took me aside and sort of said, man, you know, you should just concentrate on your grappling, you know, just focus on that, and you know, then you'll actually get, you know, you're going to improve a lot there, because I was training, yeah, the kickboxing as well, doing the MMA, doing grappling, and yeah, and so that was like some of, you know, one of the great bits of advice that you gave me was to focus on just the grappling, and take that, you know, as far as you could, you know, put all the energy and focus into that. Yeah, because yeah, fighting.
Yeah,
is
because
hard.
I saw you so talented as well, and I said, no, first of all, get the achievements you want with jiu-jitsu, you know, for the grappling, and after that, yeah, you take your skills to anywhere you want to go. And that's what we did, huh? What we did, because after that, you know, you're doing so well in jiu-jitsu competitions, huh?
Yeah, and you know, there was that idea of coachability. You know, I just was like, yeah, let's try this, you know, and I had the opportunity now. It was like before, you know, I could see that I could go, you know, I had the coaches for MMA as well, but you know, with you here, it was like, man, I can train every day with Vanderson.
Yeah.
And you know, and so the sky's the limit there. So yeah, that was good stuff. Hey. Thanks for that.
Yeah. No, but it was such an exchange. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that training, you know, because after that was it wasn't long ago. You know, the biggest achievement in still this day was, you know, Combat Room going to the Abu Dhabi trials, and it was 5 tickets, and we got 4 of them, right?
Yeah, it was.
That was amazing. You know, in the whole New Zealand, you know, we got the 4 tickets, you know, and you guys went to Abu Dhabi, 5-star hotels, you know, 3 meals per day, you know, even some money as well. No, you got some money, right?
Yeah, like
For
Yeah, for the
fun
competition. Yeah, absolutely.
But the interesting way, so yeah, we went in, me and we were training. We're gonna of course talk a little bit about the things we were doing then, but one of the highlights of my life was seeing you guys going through that whole process there. But yeah, I think it's definitely, especially you, because you was brown belt. It was the the black belt division, the open weight division. You was the lightest guy by far. And man, and you won the thing, holy, but my heart, came to, man, we have a picture, you're both hugging, you just came in, you gave that mad jump, man, that day was, yes, because, just the hard work, the effort we all were putting on that,
it was a day
that achievement.
It turned the, it was like when we kind of, or for me, it was like believing and knowing that we could do that kind of thing. We were good enough. For anybody in the world. And you would often say that as well. Like, it's just 2 arms and 2 legs and 1 head. And I know that you and Paulito kind of did a lot of training together, just you guys together, and like that you don't need one of the things that we talked about was that you didn't need a big team to be successful. You just,
the big,
smart.
the big brands, the names and the teams, No, and I think, and so many, I felt that as well. One of the missions was just to, because sometimes we because we live in New Zealand and we always think, outside of there has always something better, bigger, stronger, blah, blah. And, I wasn't the case, you already was really good, I was just the catalyst, trying to, make that, for you to believe on what in your capacity, on your skills, and, in training with you as well to, say, Alex, see, man, it's, it's head to head here, just go there, perform the same thing. And we had so many of those conversations, trying to make you guys to believe that, would be possible. And man, we did really well.
Right? Yeah. And it was, it was things like the super hard training. Like rounds and rounds and rounds of, just like, okay, Alex, you try and pass my guard. And it would just be rounds and rounds of this, and just, I got my fingers in that training, my jiu-jitsu fingers, and it built up that self-belief, but that moment in that competition was like the proving of it, and we did it as a team so well. It was just such a perfect day, like, and for me, because I was so used to going to competitions and have like maybe no coach in the corner, or even like the classic thing of like I'm some gringo guy and there's a Brazilian guy and a Brazilian referee, and it just all the calls are not going to go your way. That's the feeling anyway, but it just felt like, man, every part of the puzzle was in place, and we'd worked so hard, but we also knew how we were going to work as a team in the competition as well. And the self-belief that I had was strong, but with you behind me in the corner, and the team behind was like, it was like, what you gonna say? I'm gonna do it. And I can, and so I was really with 100% trust in like your coaching, and and I was ready to, that just helped me to, like, any move I was gonna do, I was doing it better. I was doing it. And it just really came off so well, eh?
No, it was amazing. But but the train was hard, but again, I never asked none of you guys to do something I wasn't doing for you guys as well, so I went through the whole process with you guys, as much as as I could, and even the mental side as well. We were even talk about the mental preparation of me taking you to okay, Alex, this is the last piece, and now we're gonna go and do the last training, kind of really samurai thing, but it wasn't even it came so natural. Okay, now we need to shut the mind down a little bit. How we're gonna meditate? Went to the Stocks Valley.
Hey, man, that was that
Monastery.
I remember it because that was that was probably as hard a training as all the physical training was, and this was the beginning of another practice that we've both kept training with. But the meditation, it was like, this is how we're going to have an advantage as well. And we're going to go to the monastery, and and I was, again, I was like,
here we go. What?
Awesome, let's do this.
Another Vânderson crazy idea. Let's.
But man, cold. I mean, it's a beautiful temple. It's beautiful, and it was just like the movie. We're going to the temple. we're gonna, and I was just like, shoot, this is not like a movie. I'm just sitting here like in pain. My mind is going
cold, very cold.
But it was again just like a beautiful memory, and something that I can look back on and notice how that was another beginning of something that was really important. It is really important in my life. Is that meditation, mindfulness. It's the internal practice that helps you to understand yourself and helps you to feel more at ease in situations, and it's for me, it's kind of been the progression of jiu-jitsu from a physical martial art, overcoming your like the physical mastery, and you're towards this mental internal mastery. As you go along, there's only so much you can do in the physical realm, and then you find a way to work in the non-physical realm, within you, and that's the biggest opponent. But you use all the things that you've learned in jiu-jitsu and you transfer those things, like a mindset, an attitude, a perseverance, the delayed gratification. It's not just going to happen straight away, but it's worth putting the effort in for what you what you slowly see. So
and even for the save, being on the present with the intention of saving energy as well, not ruminating and keep overthinking about the battle. No, Alex, so it's one step at a time. One fight at a time. We just need to think about the first person. The second's going to be later on. Let's concentrate. And that gave you I truly believe that gave you the edge over because you was against the odds complete, being the lightest guy, brown belt with a bunch of black belts way heavier than you. What's the odds of you being the champion?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody really expected that.
Took everybody by surprise.
Plus takedowns. Took them down.
But and also another classic story as well, and I'm never gonna forget that, was the fact of between, so you won the semi-final, and you just look, okay, it's the final, and the guys, for some reason, and we had this Brazilian guy came all from Abu Dhabi, and with Douglas Santos there, the guys, the organizers and everything, and the guy said, 5 minutes. I said, what, 5 minutes? man, 5 minutes is not enough. So, I look around and said, okay, Alex, remember, I grabbed you by the shoulder. I said, Alex, so just listen to me. You're going to go to the toilet. You're going to sit there, have a rest, meditate, breathe, keep breathing, doing those breathing exercises, we're doing. And you just going to show up here. If I go there to pick you up, you stay there. So you run to the toilet and after just, oh my God, I'm going to have to create a fight here just to create a scene, and the guys, they're not going to understand anything.
But this was the great thing about having, somebody else in the corner as well. And it was like, man, no, Vanderson, he can speak Portuguese, he's going to be able to talk to these guys, there's like, we're in for this, and this is all part of the competition. You see, it's not just on the mat; it's everything.
Yeah.
Leading up, and how you're making it kind of fall into place.
Yeah, and also to be fair as well, to give you some time for you to rest. 5 minutes, and the guys came to me, yeah, and the guys came to me. No, but it's I don't know, $1,000 US dollars plus a ticket for Abu Dhabi. No, it's 5 minutes. I said no, and man, I went there and I created the scene of the guys, so we end up giving you a really good, decent at least a fair amount of rest, but otherwise, the guys just wanted, okay, let's go straight away.
I'd already had like the biggest match of my life, just before. And so but that was such a beautiful feeling to be just a part of that unit. We were working as a unit. Everybody was doing the job that they needed to do. I could just do I was like, this is my job. I'm just gonna put all this training into practice, and no, I'm not tapping today. That was my job, and your job was to support that and try to make keep it fair for give us a chance. And be the eyes kind of off the side that can help in the fight as well.
Yeah, make sure you got the fair points, the fair advantages, all of that. Such a but it was super cool. Oh man.
It was again.
It was awesome.
Just that moment where it's like, we did it. We did it.
We got 4 tickets, and after all you guys, and after was the next step, you guys going to Abu Dhabi, in the middle of all the top jiu-jitsu players in the world in Abu Dhabi. And also you have the opportunity to meet not only my first coach, Gilberto Gabas, Paulito there as well. What for me, another awesome achievement, highlight was seeing Paulito, lifting your arm up because you won, the match, and that picture as well, with him, putting your arm up.
Man.
That was just, again, another part of the puzzle.
Was life, eh?
Yeah, man, how beautiful is life, yeah.
For that to eventuate was that, Paulito was sort of your best training partner and brother over in Brazil, and you guys, had to be together to get through tough times, and then, he's one of the top guys in Abu Dhabi, teaching and coaching and training and but also, somehow we come together.
He also the compliments, he did, about you. Man, your students really good. This Alex, and then, gave you nicknames there. Salsicha. Man, Salsicha is really good, man. The guys, are complimenting him. Man, where does guy come from? So he was proud as well to tell. One of my students. It's coaching Alex in New Zealand. So. Man, it was such a good vibe, this connection,
Amazing. And, he was also, because we trained together over there. He looked after us. The first time I went over there with Ray, we didn't have a place to stay in Abu Dhabi, and he sorted out for us to stay in the back room of the actual Abu Dhabi Combat Club. So we lived in the back room of the Abu Dhabi Combat Club for a week for the competition. And he did, like, he treated me as he would have treated you, and that was the that was the connection.
Super grateful for
he
that
was
as
just
well.
like, I'm gonna, Vanderson, he's your student. I'm gonna look after him just as though he's you.
Yeah.
And so that was amazing, and he was, he helped me a lot as well. That competition, it was the absolute division. I had a bye in the first round of the absolute, and then I fought Oliver Geddes, who's a Hodger Gracie black belt. And just before we went on, Paulito just told me what to look out for. He's like, he's got a good half guard triangle, and that was pretty much just all I needed to, he just gave me this good intel, and then and we fought, and it was a close, hard fight, but I was careful with the triangle, and and then boom. So it kind of, that I had the same feeling, that Paulito was, he was also kind of trying to make the best happen as well, which was it's nice to have that when you're overseas, and like, so easily you can just feel kind of alone, and so.
But I'm thinking, that's a really good metaphor as well for life, Alex, because sometimes, the only thing we need, if we have one person who believes a little bit on us, sometimes that's the most important thing we're gonna have in order to achieve what we want, or even in order to get out of bed, this person, it's believe on me, and it's, so that's priceless when we have someone who, not only believe, but put so much effort, so much love, and I think sometimes some people who comes to Jiu-Jitsu later on in life as adults, who never had this experience before, sometimes they get a little bit confused as well, they don't understand, where this, how to be coachable,
Yeah, and, I think there's a lot of times where, especially when you're starting out in Jiu-Jitsu, that the coach carries the flame for you for a little bit. They encourage you to keep coming, and maybe you don't have that motivation or that belief inside of you just yet. And there's that period of time where the coach is giving you a lot of help to build that up in yourself, so that then you can carry that within yourself more. And I think it's really nice to see how people can come in and just grow their self-belief, and but in a relationship as well with coach, with training partners, and just start to just slowly develop the self-belief, the belief in their ability, and also the resilience of, every day can't be, the championship day. I'm gonna have the days which are up and down, and it doesn't mean, when it's a down day that, that you remember all of the other days of good and everything, but it takes time to recognize that, like, you're not just this day. And I think going through, coming to jiu-jitsu and practicing and training is a beautiful therapy in that way. And it's something that ultimately we're trying to build up in ourselves. But also you do look to your coach, your training partners. It's important if you're as a part of a team, that you can that you're not there just for yourself as well. And notice when people need a little bit of a little bit of help, or a little bit less hard training on a day or something like that. Sometimes we can get really closed off to just our own world. And it's another good aspect of jiu-jitsu training that I've found is that you are in your own training, but you're also training with your team, your training partners, and you have to have some acknowledgement of them as well. And days when you'll help and look after them when they're feeling a bit down or low, or whatever it is, and vice versa.
And sometimes tell them off as well, right?
That's part of the love.
Even one of the questions here, someone asked you, because that's another part we need to understand as well. Sometimes, you're not on the track, someone comes and says, hey, wake up, hey, my friend, you need to come back to the track, And so someone asked on the group chat for you to tell about the story of the post-Abu Dhabi kebab.
Well, again, so it's perfect. Because I think another thing that was kind of different from when you came to New Zealand, it was, the culture in New Zealand is different from Brazil. So, drinking a lot of beer and going out and was maybe like, a little bit harder for you to kind of understand. And but that was the routine, was train hard, competition, and then go out afterwards, for a party. And so we were, I think we were all like super, on that big high. So I think, you were saying it was like, a couple of the guys that had never been to Auckland before, so it's like this big adventure. We were on top of the world because we beat everybody. We're going Abu Dhabi. And so we're the champs. And that big energy, add more drinks into it, and I think just eventually, the bravado was a little bit too much. There was a few knocking of shoulders and square ups and things like that, and it was just kind of like, for a sober person looking in, it was just about to go like, go from having a good time to like something else. And that was the moment when
and I was the sober. And I'm the sober person always.
And so, it was like just the stern word, hey guys, that's it. It's over for tonight. We're going to have a kebab and then we're going home.
That was something I learned in New Zealand as well, work on the doors, because always when someone, because man, I didn't even have the correlation, why a kebab, but remember when we used to work on the door, someone come to drunk and say, hey, I think, go away, have a kebab, and after come back, So I had that mentality.
It's classic.
So I just put everybody in front of this kebab shop and said, guys, come on, you're going to go. No, you're going to go right now. Otherwise, I'm going to choke every single one of you guys, and I'm going to put you guys in a taxi, and we're going to go back to Kaha. We were sleeping at Kaha.
In the gym,
And everyone look at me, kind of, oh, man. This guy, it's going to ruin our party.
But... and again, like I think we were, we're all learning along this journey, And it was, I'm always noticing those sorts of things, and it was a good moment for like, there's another level of professionalism and integrity and care as well. You don't always have to be like with the crowd, and sometimes it's more important to say what needs to be said even if it's, even if it doesn't make you the fun guy. Yeah, because, we don't know what could happen, but, it could have turned something, a really special night into something that was, didn't deserve that sort of moment.
Yeah.
So, it was good.
But see,
best kebab I ever had.
Yeah. But see, this is the coach, doing what's supposed to do, and out of
drawing that line.
Yeah, out of protection, out of so many things.
Always coming from love, and wanting the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and care.
So, Alex, going back to Abu Dhabi, so there you had the opportunity as well to train with big names, like Cyborg. I remember you mentioned about Cyborg. Meow Brothers, all those guys. Man, what a cool experience, huh?
Yeah, it was totally, a awesome experience because all the athletes were housed in the hotel, the 5-star hotel, and we were all having breakfast and lunch and dinner together. I think breakfast and dinner it was, and then training. There's a big training room that everybody's, everybody's in there. Like you're walking in and it's, it's like a who's who of the stars of jiu-jitsu of that time. And so Buchecha's training there, Gabby Garcia, Cyborg, the Meow Brothers,
Rodolfo
Vieira. Yeah, it's just name after name after name, and you're seeing some good rounds happening. Like people are, it's like, oh man, this is like there's a tournament before the tournament going on, and it was cool because Carlos Vieira, Portuguese, who came over for one of those Abu Dhabi trials in New Zealand. And I had a couple of good matches with him over the years. But he became like a good friend, and he's such a nice guy. But he was like, oh, Alex, hey man, you wanna have a roll with Cyborg, because he knows he's like good mates with all of these guys, and I was cutting weight for under 70, so I was trying to be like 68.5 kg. And just, kind of feeling pretty drained, and like I was sort of like, I don't really want to like have hard rounds now, but then it was just
what opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, absolutely 100%. Yeah, I definitely want to have a roll with Cyborg, and but that's it. You just, I think it's, you always take those opportunities when they're there, and it was super fun, man. He's like such an interesting combo of like just absolute brute strength and power. Gorilla, absolutely, but with incredible speed and reaction and agility as well. So his, he felt really soft, and then like boom, he'd like switch, and you could tell that he had like quite a few levels of that he could kind of notch it up.
Few gears,
But he moved really well. I really enjoyed the way that he moved, and was he would move to be ahead of the game, and so it was quite a game that you wouldn't expect from a bigger guy like that. So that was super cool. And then straight away next of all, Portuguese is like, hey man, you want to let's roll with the meows, I was like, oh man.
That's so 100%. Awesome.
Yeah, so just had a round with Joao, and then a round with Paulo. And it was cool because, it was like, again, it was like, oh, I'm seeing these guys with all these videos and stuff, and but it's the same game, it's the same thing. It's 2 arms, 2 legs, head. It's a grip fight, and I found that the meows were, the difference that I found with them was like they were like constantly going for their stuff. Just constantly going for their moves. Not they were in it to put their moves on, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and so they were doing that. So it was awesome, and actually in that at that period of time, I caught a Mercedes to the airport with the Meow brothers as well to leave. So we got chauffeured out in the.
That's what
yeah.
experience.
The high level sort of VIP Mercedes to the airport. And yeah. So it was nice to have those extra rounds and get to train with some of the best level guys out there at that time. And I mean, to this day, they're still right there.
Yeah, they're still going, yeah.
So it was all a process of like, feeling more and more comfortable to be in that arena, to be with those guys, to go and train with them. And I remember, even, the training the coaching that you were giving to me about being confident in yourself and, going up and introducing yourself. Hey, I'm Alex Scott.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Alex Scott, and saying your name and being, just being, having your energy like strong within yourself,
Yeah, never put anybody on a pedestal, How many times, we had this conversation, because we had I remember saying those things to Alex, you go there, introduce yourself, Alex Scott, I'm Alex Scott, we had this conversation.
Yeah, but it's all of those little things, that are building blocks that help you to, they're like, it's a technique, and, as much for yourself as it is for anybody else. It's, just every time you say that, it's a reminder, who are you? Yeah, this is my name. This is what I'm, this is who I am. And we don't want to turn away from ourselves and belittle ourselves by, and it's in New Zealand, I think, as well, it's a little bit of that tall poppy kind of syndrome where we feel like we're bragging, or, we don't want to be the center of attention or something like this. And it's good practice to just to be able to accept who you are, say, Alex Scott here. Yeah, nice to meet you, man. And that's so, another good lesson, just another little small thing that really stuck in my mind that helped me was this one.
I remember we had those conversations, but again, it's just another part of the process. It's important. Nobody's better than anybody else. It's you. You're gonna go there, introduce yourself. Again, it's another human being there. You're there, sharing the same space as them. They only, they could be a little bit more famous, kind of have more name, but doesn't matter. You're there, part of that, and you're gonna go for. You belong here.
Yeah. So.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the money to go there to stay with you guys as well.
Man.
But it's so good. Another time. Time.
Well, in that room as well, that was when I met your first coach,
Gilberto Gabas.
And because I'd seen some videos and some old like photos, I think. And it was I was like, man, I reckon that.
That was so interesting.
He has these huge glasses. It's just like the guy that you would never expect to be the toughest dude around, because he takes his glasses off and he's just like squinting hard, and he's just like not a big guy.
No, and he's 8 times world champion in the master division.
Absolute beast.
Yeah. 8 times.
And so I went over and I said, I introduced myself and I said, I think my coach is your old student, Vanderson Pires. And he was like, and as soon as I said that, he's like, big smile on his face. I remember, remember. And, we didn't, I don't think he was, he didn't have very good English either. But, he kind of made some sign language. I think he used to hassle you about having like big teeth or something like this.
Yeah, he even tried to explain that to you. I knew it.
He's like, yeah, it's like something like this. Like,
Yeah. He always teased me for having big teeth. Yeah.
building you up, right?
Yeah, kind of. Oh man, but that was classic as well, man. Even you have the opportunity to see, the only one that's missing at the moment is Leo, it's the only one that's missing from this, my journey and the puzzle. Yeah,
man, I would love to.
Journey.
I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Yeah, we're gonna make this.
He's an island.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. It's. I would really love to meet.
Yeah.
He's because the stories that you've told and it's that's a beautiful thing about another beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is this extended family that you have around the world.
Yeah, so true.
I could go to Abu Dhabi and not have a place to stay and never meet a guy and then just ring them up.
Yeah.
Be like, hi, my name's Alex Scott.
Yeah.
from New Zealand. My coach is Vanderson. And I think he's your friend.
Yeah.
But then he's gonna, and then Paulita did like move heaven and earth for us, and we're just like a family from the beginning, and that's we can meet somebody just one time, and then meet up with them again, 5 years later, and stay on their couch or something, and there's a real connection that happens there, which is awesome. So, I think it's a nice way to. Another great thing that comes with jiu-jitsu is there's clubs all around the world. It's kind of like you've got a common ground there, and you can if you don't know anybody in a city, you can go to a jiu-jitsu club and you'll have friends straight away.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Alex, now shifting from Alex being a competitor, achieving your goals, and after making the transition to become a coach, so went to Sydney, and how was this transition for you? And, unfortunately we have, it's not unfortunate, we have the side of what was a hard decision for you guys as well. You and Anna run a club together for almost 10 years, and after have to make the hardest decision of, so can you take us to this process?
Yeah. So, it was that kind of. I moved to Sydney about a year after getting my black belt here, and it was sort of like the that next step that I wanted to take was still competing at that time, but also to start my own teaching and coaching, and that was so for a while I was doing the both, and moving out of Wellington and going over to Manly was, again, it was just like another chapter that was full of ups and downs and big, your life changes over this time a lot. It was, I'd learned a lot from the different times that we'd set up gyms in Wellington, and from Taranaki time, and it was something that I wanted to put all of my training and my degree into practice more with coaching people. So it was for the first sort of 5 years we were in Manly with Ben, and we because Ben was one of my training partners in Taranaki. Came over a couple of times, and we kind of reconnected, and so this opportunity to start a training over in Manly was there, and it was nice because my sister was over there, and I'd been over there a few times for Gracie Baja training camps, and it had been like really cool moments as well. So it was a call to go there and start something up, and man, like it's a huge question. It's another massive, because it's a 10-year journey really, from being a competitor and really wanting my own goals and achievements to be, at the front, and then having to change even the whole idea of who you are as well. Transferring your worth from, how many gold medals you're getting, or, the competition performances, to sort of measuring how you're doing with like your students, with your academy, and and so there was a period of time where I was doing both a lot, and the Boa Super 8 matches were kind of like the last big events that I did. So they were, again, it was. I think I felt like we'd had such a great coach relationship that it always felt like a little bit like somebody wasn't there when you weren't there in my corner, because we worked so well together. And so a few super fights with at the Boa Super 8, and there was another one in Sydney, and they were awesome experiences. Got to have some more good matches, fight some high level guys, and that was kind of like my personal like reward, is like going into a big event and like just being a part of it, and doing my best, obviously. That aspect was still kind of like the fun for me, and then turning it into focusing on coaching. Again, it was kind of like injuries that put me really into this sort of focus. I remember we were getting ready for the Artaxias competition, which is another sort of super fight sort of event, and it was going to be a 20-minute match, and so I was training, getting ready for this, and I'd sustained an injury.
Yes, you got so true, you got the injury,
Yeah, but I'd got this injury in the Boa Super 8 before. Rodrigo Caparel, again, he was the biggest guy in the division. I was the smallest guy in the division. He's a beast. We had such an awesome...
Was a wrist lock,
match.
right?
Yeah. I look back and I just kick myself when I think about it, because we're doing a big stand-up match, and then he just he just hits his lapel right here, and then I grabbed it, and then that's what he wanted, and just went bang onto a wrist lock, and I felt it like tight, and then he just put more pressure on, and I felt my wrist move, and I was like, oh man, like this is bad, and I kind of had to jump to the ground to sort of relieve the pressure, and but that was injured after that, and I tried to train through, and then there was one training session with a good friend who has been a training partner for a long time, Scott Ireland. But I was just in a turtle position with a Kimura kind of lock, and he just switched his hips over the top of my arm and just broke my wrist. And so that was a really bad injury, scaphoid bone. It took a long time to be able to come back to any kind of level where I was before. And then I hurt I blew my knee out.
The knee as well,
Scott again.
Bloody Scott.
But he was a great training partner, and he was always up for it. So I don't blame him at all. But that knee injury was really bad as well, and fortunately I didn't have to have surgeries for any of the injuries that I've had. But they really kind of like slowed me down. Again, it got me thinking back to the whole origin of like, why are you going to start jiu-jitsu? For health, so you can build your health back up, your body back up. It's rehabilitation. And I'd taken it into this sort of extreme again, and I hadn't probably wasn't looking after myself enough, because now I was, coaching a lot, competing, you know, all the extra things on top that weren't just about me anymore. And so getting tired and overworked, and then injured, and I just I thought, man, I'm back in this place where I'm not well. I'm not really doing what I need to do to be healthy. And I got to remember that that's the whole reason why I'm actually here. Is for this to nourish me and get me through hard times as well. So yeah, it felt like a turning point was those injuries and recovering. And at that time, we were transitioning to open the combat room over in Sydney in Brookvale. So yeah, recovering from those injuries, spending a lot of time just how it is to fit out a new gym. We didn't have any money, so we just doing a lot of things ourselves and painting.
Yeah, but you guys did a really good job. The place was awesome. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. It was we had inspiration from you, and we had the belief that we could do it, and it was, and the opportunity come up. It was sort of like, this is the perfect space for you. If you don't do this now, do you really want it? And so it was using all the lessons from training and just putting it into making sure we could achieve that goal. And we had a tight schedule, and it we opened on my birthday. It's like an easy one to remember.
Yeah.
And we had one. Our first class was like a no-gi class, and it was me and Anna and one guy, Bazza, and from Queenstown, what's it? Paula from Queenstown came along with her mate. They'd just been to like a competition, and so this was like just the first class, small but significant as well. And once we'd got over the line of those first classes, it was still just building the academy, laying nice mats properly, matting the walls. It was 300 square meter kind of space, so it was massive.
Really nice open space, no pillars.
And so we built up like this family atmosphere. Anna was a massive part of, and she is to this day, like my journey with not only with coaching and jiu-jitsu, but in life as well. So we really, we partnered up very closely to make the kids' classes work, make the adult classes work, make the administration work, have a philosophy about, what we wanted the space to be for people and for ourselves, and how we wanted to teach. And everything was like we did together with a purpose. And we did it not to create competition champions specifically, but that it was a place that felt like everybody could train to be their best self. They could come in and practice to be their best, the better version of themselves. And that started to become really, really a big motivation for me. Was like thinking about what are the values, what is the example that I'm giving. Am I being truthful? Am I saying something that I do, or am I saying something that I don't do? So walking the talk. It all became really important to me. To be authentic as a coach, in as many ways as possible. And the kids classes were probably the biggest improvement that I had in coaching. I feel like because one of the things was, I wanted to, I saw an opportunity with coaching kids to put like some good influences into their lives. They're so they don't have as many walls up, and so the opportunity to like bring a good influence into their life is really there, and it can be harder with adults. There's more walls being built up over the years. They see themselves as one way more, like, they're set in their ways a bit more. So it can take like more time and more things to really, get to someone's true sort of personality as well, like, so yeah, for kids, it was like, I need to think of like, what are my values, and what are the good values that I'd want to like teach to them, and and I meditated on it a lot, and man, it was every day I'd be thinking about like, how am I gonna, how am I bringing my best to these kids classes, and it just became such, so, and I came up with three values for the kids. That became values for the adults and for me, and it was compassion, courage, and respect. And these like three ideas. We could talk to each one of those values for any situation, and we would be able to work out what the best thing to do would be from there. And it's simple ideas that we could discuss with 5-year-old kids up to any age.
Yeah.
So yeah, respect was kind of like, and I meditated about it a lot, because a kid would be like, well, what does respect mean? And you can say, oh, following the rules, but it's not really
quite
that. Yeah, and so I'd be getting like these real interesting questions from the little kids that would prompt you to be like, oh, well, what does it actually really mean, And yeah, so respect kind of came down to me like seeing the value in everything, even if you don't understand it. There's some value for it. There's a lesson in everything. So having respect for yourself is seeing the value in yourself. So, and you need to have that, and then having respect externally is just acknowledging that everything has its place in the world, and it's there for a reason, even if you understand it or you don't understand it. If it's good or it's bad, we just need to respect all and everything that's going on around us. And so that's sort of like an awareness kind of thing, so that, after years of meditation, questions from me, I was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm kind of starting to understand a little bit for myself what respect kind of really means. And yeah, the kids' classes were the big thing for me to think about that. Compassion is maybe a little bit more self-explanatory, but it's love for yourself. Concern and care for other people, empathy, being able to put yourself in the shoes of another person, and try to understand where they're coming from. And the classic one that for the kids is compassion is stopping when someone taps. So it's like, it can be just a really simple thing. Yeah, respect. We bow on and off, and we shake hands with each other before we start. And compassion, we
the martial art of the martial of the arts, what's missing, a big time these days,
and that's I mean, that was something that I think our academy really had. That was like this kind of this martial art, sort of the discipline, but not, and the tradition, but not like military.
No.
But kind of coming from a place of understanding that these things actually contribute to they create a nice environment for other people as well as yourself. They create an environment where you know, it's almost like a ritual that brings you into the mind of training, the mind of learning, you know, being ready to fight. But being ready to fight's not about being like, you know, it's about being centered. It's about, you know, knowing who you are and just being ready. It's not about like, you know, shouting the loudest and bravado and things like that. And you know, that's something that we really worked on to bring into that space was some good values.
Yeah, I was so impressed. You know, I went there to, you know, for Emma's black belt grade, you know, to see Anna as well. I was really impressed with her leadership, you know, looking after everything, you know, and you know what's massive help, you know, when you have someone on your side to take care of a few things, you know, and you can concentrate on the coaching more, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Without
super
Anna
cool.
As a partner in that, it would have been, we worked so well together, and fortunately we never got sick of each other. It's amazing. But, you know, again, I really feel like Anna being on that same journey.
The same page, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the internal practice of meditation and energy cultivation and just, you know, looking to evolve, you know, who you are, strip away the, you know, the parts that aren't serving you and you know, be prepared to keep growing. That, you know, was really important for both of us because we were sort of both doing that, you know, growing together, but, you know, you have to do your own work. But, you know, we were fortunate that we sort of, we grew an interest in this realm and we naturally kind of supported each other in the ways that we could see where we needed, you know, my strengths not like on the computer. But I can talk to people, I can make people feel welcome, can, you know, have a lot of techniques to teach in jiu-jitsu and experience and stuff like that. You know, so that was, you know, where I was really good, and Anna was amazing at, you know, making sure that things happened, you know, organizing things, you know, interacting with parents and children really well.
You guys' newsletter as well was really cool, really cool,
Yeah, so that's something that I think we want to get back into, is this newsletter and the because I think kind of getting back to that question of, you know, we built up this beautiful kind of community and team, and we felt like we were really, you know, it felt good what we were doing, and it seemed like it was helping people, and, you know, the jiu-jitsu training was awesome, and then, you know, the pandemic stuff started to happen and the lockdowns, and we got through one of those, you know, pretty good, and then happened again, another long one that, we kind of made the decision that we wanted to, like, not just sort of sit and let this happen to us, but respond, you know, and make a decision, and so we decided to close the gym. We were coming up for another lease that, you know, to sign or not sign, and, you know, it's a big commitment with uncertainty, as well as, you know, our personal kind of desire to kind of start to move out towards, like, into more rural living, start to grow your own food a bit more, and this was always something that, you know, I grew up in the country, and my mum's a great gardener, and you know, that was always something that I wanted to get towards, and but, you know, that decision to close was again another one. It's like, then who are you once you've closed down the gym and, you know, all your students go to some other clubs, and then you're just left with yourself again, and it's sort of like, yeah, it was another, a big moment for learning about yourself, and you know, it was really hard to. There was so many emotions and things going with that time. You know, it's obviously stressful for every person was going through their own crises and various situations. But we were, we felt supported that it was the right decision to go with, and it opened up. You know, it's another opportunity from that decision, and this process for us is still kind of unfolding. We want to, the newsletter is something that we want to get back into. We want to sort of travel more and connect with people. Free range BJJ is sort of the, you know, what we've kind of thought about as this sort of idea of moving out of the academy and having a gym and creating a team, because we've tried that, and we know kind of how to do that, and we could go back to that, but also, you know, there's this opportunity to try something different for ourselves, you know, try something new for ourselves, and you know, but also with this idea of contributing to the jiu-jitsu community, you know, having something that's going to be enjoyable and fun for ourselves, and you know, hopefully make a living from sharing jiu-jitsu as not only a, you know, techniques on the mat, but jiu-jitsu as like this whole lifestyle that helps us to be better people and helps us to find out who we are, and you know, reconnect with yourself more. You know, the idea is to have training camps and workshops and events that have jiu-jitsu as a center, but also learn all the, you know, the other skills and things that wrap around that to help you to have a better life. And what, you know, and just through the things that we've found that have helped us, you know, and
a really holistic approach of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, like, you know, that idea of the physical aspect that you find in jiu-jitsu, then you can like learn more meditation skills and take that training into the internal space, but also thinking about, you know, our nutrition and how we're feeding ourselves, like, so getting back into nature a little bit more for people, I think is such a strong therapy.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, that's from my own experience as well. Again, just thinking about, you know, walking the talk that you've said, and yeah, just bringing people that want to sort of explore more of those elements in their lives. You know, we'd want to help people to have that chance to kind of grow and improve themselves and have fun, think about what their values are. You know, help even coaches to create the environment within their team and club that they want to have. You know, and just sharing back, giving back, and giving back to the whole jiu-jitsu community as well. I think we're in a place where we have a lot of friends from all different teams, and we're on good terms everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, yeah. But just coming in with that sort of open heart to help and improve the jiu-jitsu experience. Avoid some things that are that don't serve us as well. Just learning about who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so it's something that we'd like to. Yeah, that's going to be kind of the next journey, the next chapter of the journey for us is working out how we do that, and and sharing the experience, the journeys that we've been through, and when we closed down the gym in Sydney, we moved up to the Northern Rivers in northern New South Wales, and we had another whole 1 year out in the hills and the bush, and that's like a lifetime's worth of experiences in that year as well. Closing, going out into the bush, and just cooking on a fire and living in our van for a few weeks and months. And there were the floods, big floods in the Northern Rivers when we got there. So just this catastrophic, massive disaster that we found ourselves just kind of like in the middle of, and putting the jiu-jitsu kind of lessons into like a real kind of crisis situation. And we went out and volunteered to look for people in landslides and just do what we could there. And that was it was a beautiful time to see in a real disaster, to see how people react. And there were so many people that were just ready to give everything. It was beautiful to be a part of that. And so that was something that we felt, it showed this beautiful spirit of this human spirit that even after all the the difficult times of lockdowns and that sort of stuff, that as soon as it was needed, like really needed, people just came out, and no problem was going to be too hard. So it was that stuff was really beautiful to see, and we've learned a lot in the sense of community and that living up there. It's a bit of a different kind of it's different from the city. It's a very energetic place. There's a lot of interesting people who are have like different skills. They're sound healing people. There's plant medicine people. There are meditation coaches and people who all walks of life that are into like personal transformation and growth. You find a lot of people out there. So we've really had a few connected with a couple of really good teachers over there that have really kind of taken us through like more journeys of self-discovery and learning, and those lessons we also want to kind of share and bring back. It's
that's awesome. That's nice. Super cool.
Yeah, you can again, every time you go into a competition, that it's a great way of like transforming yourself. You go through a fire and you have a moment where you have to perform under pressure and stress, and then you afterwards, all these lessons kind of come into your being, and competition is one way of getting that, but we can get it in other ways as well. Diving in cold rivers, and climbing mountains, meditating, having silence, all these other ways that we can wrap around our jiu-jitsu experience as well. So that's the sort of stuff that we're looking to work with more,
That's awesome.
the
Sounds
future.
really good. Really, really cool. So, my brother, which questions should I ask you and I didn't? There any question I missed? Oh man, we cover a good part of your story. Huh?
Yeah, man. Um, oh well, I think there's so much that we've gone through. I think, you know, I'd want to say that to you, you know, that you really made I just love to see what the perseverance and the you always had this real, the real ethic in your heart, which was like, even if it's harder, I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do. And I saw that come out in many, many ways over the years, and it's something that I really hold is having, that's why I wanted to be close to you, because of that integrity, and that, that was the big thing. I was like, man, this guy's a good guy. If you were a bad guy and good jiu-jitsu, I wouldn't have stuck around. So that, I feel like that brought us really close together, and it was because of who you were as a person, and that's inspirational to me for bringing that out to other people. But I got some funny stories if you want. You remember we had, like, at the first combat room, it was like the first time Ray Massa brought his wrestling shoes to the mats. And it was like, Ray's putting his shoes on. He goes to step on the mats. You're like, hang on, man, there's no shoes on the mats. He's like, but they're wrestling shoes. So you're like, there's shoes. There's no shoes on the mat. And Ray couldn't understand it. You couldn't understand Ray not understanding it. And I think at the end, you just had to put them up out of his reach, because Ray's not too tall. Hung them over a rafter. Ray was just like, oh man, such a funny classic mate. But I think, at that time, I don't think anybody realized how close you were to being like, screw this, I don't need this. I'm out. So, like, some great characters that have come through, and I remember Big Mike. There was one kettlebell that nobody could move except for him.
The kettlebell is still there.
And Bruno, I remember grading him. You grading him for his blue belt. Bruno, and giving him the shark tank at the end. And I remember you saying, because you passed his guard, put him in side control, got the lapel out, choked him with a baseball bat choke, and you're kind of like, afterwards, he's, he's a strong guy, I'm gonna get past the legs, and go for the neck. That's a good idea. But it was just like, man, this is just, and again, something that you did so well was like certainty, it was like, no, this is what we do. Look, he's a big, strong guy. We don't mess around with strength. We go for the weakest bit, go for the neck. Like an arm bar him or something. Seeing those things were really, really cool to, like that was there was I was role modeling you a lot in those things, and I tried to be more certain and be more authentic, like be more personally like responsible for what I thought was right and wrong, and just doing the right thing, even if it was more difficult. I remember so many things that you made your life more difficult for you, but it was because it was the right thing to do. Trying to get your visa for living in New Zealand, and doing it as a coach, and a lot of writing a lot of applications, and it
And
wasn't
man,
the
you
easiest
helped
way.
me so much with that. A lot.
So I mean, but that's that was just one of those things that you don't. Of course I was going to do that. I was going to do whatever it took.
And you did, Alex. I think you did way more than any other person could ever, even imagine to do for me. You did so much, man, so much. Yeah.
And I got so much out of it as well. And I really, that's something that I took and believe a lot now is, the more you put into something and you kind of like, the more you put into something, the more, the more you're giving is going to, you're going to receive more as well. And, it's always come back to me like many times over when I've really made sure that I did the right thing and also contribute into the relationship. You can't just take. It's you want to receive, but you also it's an energy, and energy is moving, so you can't just take. You've got to give as well. And it was nice that we could have that relationship of giving and taking, but supporting, moving many times,
so many times. Oh my God, so many good memories. No, so many good memories. I don't, I don't even know how to say thank you, for all those memories, all those experiences. Again, the biggest highlights, my life here, definitely has you involved somehow.
All the good times, eh? And man, and likewise, I'm so grateful for, I didn't realize what this meeting was gonna change both our lives so much. And but it's been a real wonderful pleasure to have you as a friend and a coach and a mentor, and just a
now we are brothers. That's it. Because man, I learned so much from you as well. Training. Do you remember one of the drills you told me with the tennis ball? You used to do in fancy. Yeah, that's such a good drill. For
the reactions.
The reactions. That's so you.
Yeah, absolutely. Those. Yeah, exactly. And I remember also, like, one of the biggest sort of things that changed in my jiu-jitsu with training with you was the technical use of strength. Like putting something behind your technique as well. Because beforehand it was always like, it was like, no, technique.
No, I was being, intro to the strength and condition training, and we did the preparation for you as well, the one-arm push-up program.
So good. Man.
Going to the powerhouse, with Matt, Anna's brother.
Chains
move it,
and sledgehammers.
The tires, man, we did all of that.
And this all it gets you physically stronger, but it also gets you mentally stronger as well, eh? These two things really work well together. So learning to put some strength behind jiu-jitsu was another awesome lesson. That but whatever you do is like, put some strength behind it. If it's the right thing, put something, you know, commit yourself to it, and you know, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. So my brother, thank you so much. What a cool conversation. I can't wait to share this with our community. It's so awesome. And again, you know, now even I think for the first time we had this opportunity to hear what the plans are, you know, with UNN, what you guys want to do. And again, you know, always count me in, always count, you know, with Combat Room as well. You guys don't just need to come and say, hey, we want to do this, you know, and you know, I'm gonna be behind support as much as possible.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, and you know, there's just another chapter of our journey. It's not done yet.
It is. It feels like it's only just beginning.
Yes.
As well, you know. Yeah. So, man, thanks so much for
That's
having
awesome.
me on your podcast.
The podcast,
Awesome.
The Rise of the Super Being.
Yeah, man. Check it out, everybody.
Yes.
Man. And thank you for all the good times, all the hard times.
Yes.
All the times.
Awesome, my brother.